Hello, I'm Dave, and welcome back to Nerd Talk. Almost said the Capper Collective. We're not doing that right now. We're doing the Bowl Show. That's what this is. I've got Tim and Nick with me, the brothers Earl, as the dapper Don of Dundas likes to say. That's Bobano. He's from Dundas, Ontario.
Got it.
He's very dapper with his haircut. I like it, slicked back. Anyways, enough about Boba. This is the Bowl Show, and we're going to go over the next few bowl games all the way from a week today. We'll go through all of them next Wednesday. We've got 13 of them. We were talking a little bit about how we've done. I'm 4-3 on the show. I'm 4-4. I added Toledo last night, which wasn't great, but I don't feel bad with my cap on most of these games. It's just, I'd be up almost one unit if it wasn't for adding that last one last night. But Either way, Tim, how's it going for you so far this whole season?
Let's see. Miami of Ohio covered the spread there. I lost way too much money betting on the over in the Troy game and then continuously live betting the over in the Troy game, and none of them hitting. I liked Oregon State. I had them. The over in the Louisville game didn't hit. The over in the Rice game did. The over in the Fresno State game did not. SMU lost to a third-string quarterback. And UConn just didn't have enough. We did have EMU as well. And then Toledo lost on a miracle play. I will say I did cash a little bit on Toledo and Eastern Michigan because I had them in a teaser. So I ended up having Eastern Michigan plus 10.5 and Toledo plus 2.5, and that cashed. But unfortunately, the minus 3.5 did not for Toledo. But other than that, it's been about neutral so far bowl season. This next week should be fun. We actually get some, legit teams.
Yeah, we get some teams that matter. Actually, what's funny is we don't, and you'll see the breaking point. We get well into this slate of games before we even get to teams with winning records. Like it's crazy how many 6-6 teams. Got both things. But anyways, Nick, how about you? I mean, you guys throw your bets in, but you differ quite a bit sometimes.
Yeah. Overall, the bowl games, I'm 7-10-1. Overall, college football since last week, I'm 9-10-1. I did go 2-0 in the FCS playoffs. Not that those matter, but I did go 2-0 in those games. I had the under in North Dakota State, and I had South Dakota State minus 3.5. So those were both winners. I think I gave those out on ESB. I had Miami O. So we all started with Miami O plus 11. They almost won that outright. The over 45 was a missed PAT that killed it, which some people thought was hilarious for whatever reason. But, UTSA team total over and full game over was a mistake. Louisville and Cincinnati, that game had, 28 points in the first half. I had over 39 in that game. We got 3 points the rest of the game, and that game went under. That was sickening how that game finished. So not very happy about that one there. I had team total under 31 for Oregon State, so I did like that under. I liked Florida, so I kind of did both of them. Never in doubt, they won 30-3, so they went 1 point under their team total, which was cool. Fresno State team total over was a winner, but the full game over was a loser. Wazoo didn't do anything really to help the total. Southern Miss team total over 26 and full game over 45.5 were both winners. I tripled up on SMU, and they all lost. First half, full game, and team total over were all losers. They put up 24 points, I think, or they lost 24-23. They lost on a 2-point conversion attempt on the end of the game instead of kicking a PAT and going to overtime. Thanks for that. I could have at least had a chance at maybe like a team total over or a cover, but no. Boise State team total over 35 was a push. Marshall minus 10 was a winner. EMU plus 3.5 was a winner. Toledo minus 3 was a loser. So overall, about break even for college football. And I haven't bet any of the games for these upcoming ones. I've looked a little bit into them, but nothing crazy. We will be going over where the line movements are going. We will be going over who's playing and who's not playing. And I will be making bets on the show.
Yeah, that SMU game, I knew when they went down and scored that they were going to go for two. and I said this in the chat to someone, or in the DM, someone's DMs on Twitter. I want them to miss it. I want them to lose, because not only did they play like shit against a third string quarterback, they're not going to they're going to ruin my cover. Granted, they played a win or whatever, but Mordecai looked like ass. He's supposed to be good. I don't know. I faded SMU so much this season. I don't know why I liked them versus BYU. It had a lot to do with the quarterback situation.
It was more of a fade of BYU rather than a play on SMU. Of
course. Yeah. But anyways, we'll just jump right into it, and I'll put this back up because everyone knows, or if you don't know, I'm the worst fucking producer in the world. Go to the first game, which is tomorrow. Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. Baylor at 6-6, Air Force at 9-3. Baylor's 3.5 point favorite. Is it Baylor's 3.5 point favorite? Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Baylor's at 3.5.
And the total's at 58. Baylor had an awful year. I was high on them. I was more right than wrong. At the beginning of the season, I thought they could have won the conference. They started the year shitty at BYU. And then Air Force had a good year by their standards. One of the best defenses. One of the top teams in time of possession. I think the top team. They really were able to control teams this year. And by the way, we're going to go over the injuries and who's out and all that. Nick's going to do that. But this game opened at 6.5 and it's down. And it might have to do with a coaching change. It might have to do with all that. And it might have to do with Baylor losing its last 3. But I don't have a play on this game. I'm going to listen to what these two have to say. But I will say Air Force didn't play a talent like Baylor. They didn't play a team like Baylor. So that's why I'm leaning towards Baylor. But I'll let Nick go with the injuries and transfers and all that crap.
Yeah, this one's kind of confusing because when we look at who's in and who's out, obviously Air Force, it's a military academy. Do you expect any opt-outs? Do you expect any transfers?
No, because
military academy.
Because military academies cannot get drafted. So there was the whatever law that was put in place that they must serve their whatever right after college, so they're not eligible to get drafted.
Why you don't get good players going there? Because nobody.
Well, one of the guys from I think one of the running backs from Army was. When he got there, he's like, all right, cool. We get to play here. Big running. I can get drafted. Nope. They put it like midway through his thing so that, he cannot get drafted.
So the tackle, the last guy from a military academy was that really tall guy, Villanueva. He was in the Steelers and the Ravens, the offensive tackle.
But he went to
He did. He served this time.
He served and then was able. You could serve and then you got to try to get on like practice squad or something. You kind of get screwed over by that. But anyways, I figured I mentioned that.
Yeah, but looking at this one here, the defensive coordinator, Ron Roberts, was fired at the end of the regular season, and the only player they're missing due to a transfer is Devin Neal. Now, I don't know if this article that I have is missing anybody, but that doesn't justify a 3-point line move. Can you guys see if you can find – because I refreshed this as well, and this was updated 21 hours ago.
I heard that it got slammed, but the money. This is when you might want to look at the money and the handle and the tickets, which I'm not big on.
Which I'm going to get that up here in just a second.
Because all there is that they fire their offensive coordinator and there's one transfer for Baylor.
Something's just not right there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, so it's nuts to me because I would think. For people that don't, and I index this as Baylor's 9-point favorites, but that's crazy to me. I think the indexes are wrong. I don't see how people that are sort of eye test handicappers, how they wouldn't be all over Baylor on this. I don't understand it.
Well, it looks like Air Force is getting the sharp money here. If you want to call it that. A lot of the early bets came in on Air Force, which drove this down from 6.5 to 6 to 5.5 to 4, and money continuing to pour in on Air Force here, where you're getting it all the way down to a 3.5. And up until this point, it's basically been all Air Force money. Majority of the time, like when I'm scrolling through all these different timestamps of how much money was on them at each given time, it's never been below 53% of the money on Air Force, other than when the line first dropped on the 6th. So this has been nothing but Air Force money coming in on this one, which is kind of interesting because maybe they're expecting Air Force to maybe have a decent shot this game. And looking at where the total is coming in on this game, this total opened up at, let's take a look. This total opened up at a 47, but then immediately went to a 49.5. I think that was just adjustment to where the line was supposed to be. And then this game is it got slammed with under money. And it's gone from 49.5 to 48.5 to 47.5 to 46. It's been nothing but under money this entire time as well.
Why do I have it at 58? Is that wrong? That might just be wrong.
It's wrong. 40. It's a 43 now.
Yeah,
that's what the line is at.
Yeah, that's wrong. Who cares?
So this line is plummeted. 58 for tonight's game.
That's what I had. I was looking at. That's what it was. I'll fix it real quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this has gone all the way down to a 43. This is a confusing game for me. And it looks like it's just been nothing but Air Force. I kind of want to back the Air Force here. And I know I'm getting a terrible line for this, but I think Air Force may win this game. All right. The way that the market's moving in this game.
That's what.
And maybe the Air Force takes this more seriously because they're a military academy. You're going to get 60 minutes of effort for them. Baylor, they made the Big 12 championship last game. May not give a fuck about this game.
Yeah.
I think Air Force is a look here.
So the only other thing could be, if you talk about effort, Baylor could say, fuck this year, on to next year. For me, and this is just kind of diving down the subjective side of it. If I was Baylor and had a bad year and went into the bowl and lost to Air Force in a bowl, even though they've had a good year, this season would even be worse. Losing to in a military academy. I'll tell you what, I will probably find a way to get on Baylor and lose tomorrow. But right now, I don't have
about Air Force getting 3 and a hook.
If it was 3, I might consider jumping sides. But I think the hook matters in a game that is going to be low scoring because Air Force does time of possession. They're number one, and they play defense. The problem is that the other thing too is there's an unknown. Air Force hasn't played a team like Baylor.
I was going to bring that up. Because you look at who Air Force has played this year, and it goes to, I see Colby's comment saying that they average 6 yards of play per carry. Look who they played. UNI, University of Northern Iowa, a basketball school. Colorado, dog shit. Wyoming, and they lost, dog shit. Nevada lost to Incarnate Word, dog shit. Navy's been bad all year, but that's the military back and forth, whatever. Utah State, garbage. UNLV, garbage. Boise State, all right, there's your first good team per se. Army, garbage, even though, yes, military school, whatever. New Mexico, garbage. Colorado State, garbage. San Diego State, hit or miss. The thing is, this Air Force team has not played anybody that, besides Boise State, that is, and Boise State's not even anywhere close to Baylor. Baylor, I know they're 6-6. Everybody's gonna go look because this is how you look at the bowl games. Oh, Air Force is 9-3 on their game plus money
in the Mountain West.
Yes, but the average person is going to look at the records and see that the 9-3 team is a dog against a 6-6 team. This Baylor team, I don't care that a coaching got fired. One guy went to the transfer portal. That does not matter. This Baylor team is going to win by double digits. I think this one's a rout. This Air Force team is not a team that I could really consider all that good. Although in the beginning of the year, they mentioned, I believe Air Force was favorited in every single game that they played this year, and they finished 9-3. Yeah, I'll grab Baylor, and I would grab Baylor on alternative spreads. I think this one's a rout.
Yeah, I just realized what I was saying was the other way around because Baylor, the hook hurts Baylor. I don't have an official play for this yet, But I don't see when I was looking at this, man, oh man. I don't have a play. I'm leaning Baylor, so that's my lane. We've got differing opinions, which I like. What did you say? So people, I already pulled that up. People think that.
Yeah, I think I might make a move on Air Force, even though the line's dropped already. I think that they may win this game outright.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, on to the next game, which is the Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Man, these fucking sponsors are just, you've never heard of them. ULL, Louisiana Lafayette, the Raging Cajuns are 6-6 against Houston, the Cougs, 7-5. Lines at Houston -7. The total's at 57. I've got here, and I'll let you go through it. Houston's pretty healthy with all their players. ULL they're playing with their backup and wide receiver, and there's a wide receiver gone in the DN. But anyways, go ahead, Nick.
All right, let's take a look at this. There's my page for it. We have Louisiana starting quarterback Ben Wooldridge suffered a season-ending injury in mid-November. Chandler Fields was the original starter to open 2020. He started the last 2 games for the Raging Cajuns. Receiver Michael Jefferson and Andre Jones won't play. They prepare for the NFL draft. Running back Chris Smith declared for the next level, but plans to play in this game. On the other side, Houston receiver Nathaniel Dell declared for the NFL draft, but plans to play in the Independence Bowl. Cornerback Jace Rogers also declared, but intends to suit up as well. So we have players that are declaring for the draft, but they are going to be suiting up in this game and playing, which is interesting to see. So really, these teams are about the right strength. Other than Louisiana missing a receiver and an end. So overall, players playing in this game don't really have to worry about players not playing in this game because there's not much. So you can semi-cap this as a normal game, maybe adjust it a half a point, 1 point towards Houston, which I can quickly do that. I can quickly cap that real quick to see what the line should be. For this game, and I'll figure that out. But right now, let me look at a couple numbers real quick, and then you can get back to me.
Yeah, I'm just blocking the terrorists. In the chat. So when I saw this too, as far as the an error occurred, try refreshing. Whatever, fuck them. I capped it, so you can cap it fairly normally. I have Houston as a 7-point favorite, so it's right. Really? It's right on the dot. ULL is playing their backup quarterback. The other thing is
he was the starter to start the year, though.
Was he?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess that doesn't matter. I'm leaning towards the under just because I think even though Houston can score points, UL's defense is 42nd. They're holding to 24 points a game. I think UL's defense is going to be sort of the breaking point here. And let me pull up why I didn't write down why I said that. This has to do with their over/under results. Let me pull that up.
Houston's 10-2 to the over.
Yeah. Houston. But this is the other thing. So why is the line dropping? That's exactly why. Why is the line dropping?
Sharp money is coming in on the under.
Okay, well. And by the way, what's the total? What's the total record? The total's way heavy towards the under, isn't it? So far in bowls.
It has been a little bit. I think last night went under the total, so it was 5-7 now.
Yeah.
So not as many overs, but. One thing that I did see a stat for was after yesterday's game, 82 of the last 88 bowl games before Christmas have gone over 40 points. So maybe the over in the Air Force game, as crazy as that sounds, the 43 is worth a look.
Yeah, I'm definitely not on a side in this game. I'm leaning towards the under. I haven't pulled the trigger. Yeah, I might make that Baylor play official by the end of the show. I'm just looking at it. I need to not stop looking at it. But anyway,
Yeah, it looks like heavy public money on the under in this game, and it's the line. I mean, on the over. It looks like just the public is slamming the over because we're seeing tickets up in the 50s and 60%, even though the cash is like 20s and mid-teens, and this line is dropping from 50. It opened up at 61. It's gone from 60 and a half down to 58, down to 57, 56 and a half in some spots. The under may be the look in this game. And then looking at the side for this one, when we're looking at where the money has come in for this, and I know we don't look at this too much, but for these bowl games, it's kind of interesting to see what it does. Looking at the Houston side for this one, Houston opened up at a -5. They took a lot of public money here that has brought it up to a 7 though, because it looks like the mid 70s for tickets and 60s for tickets, even though 30s and 40% for the cash, which just shows that the sharper money is coming in on Louisiana Lafayette and the under in this game. And that's kind of where I'm looking in this one. I think I think 7 points is too many. My handicap set it around 3. I don't think Houston's very good. And ULL is, I think, a team that I've had ranked a little higher than many people would. But I'm looking at Louisiana with the points and the under in this game at 57, 56 and a half. So I'm going to write down Louisiana.
Tim, what do you think?
I think this is one of like the 2 games we'll talk about today that I'm really just not interested in. Houston at 7 and a hook or 7. What? No. I would kind of be, I guess, with the public. Then I would lean over because Houston's gone over in 10 out of the 12 games this season. The only 2 that didn't go over was against a Tulane team who plays really good defense, and when they only allowed 3 points up to East Carolina.
This is a really good defensive team. The ULL, they have a really good defense, and they got a really strong running game.
A good defense in the Sun Belt.
Yes, still a good defense.
I would lean towards the over. I just feel like Houston scores a bunch in this game, but I guess I really just probably am not going to even touch this game. You don't need to bet every single bowl game.
No, we're here to have picks on this show. I'm making it official. Baylor -3.5. I'm going to go with Tim and against him. Baylor -3.5, and I'm going to go the under 57 in this game.
I like the under 57 as well.
Yeah, that's official play. I will be betting those games. Okay. Will I be doing a video on that? I don't know.
Fair.
Okay, well, that's that. Who do you like tonight? What did I have tonight? I have the under, I believe.
I have the over. Oops.
In which game?
Oh yeah, I have the under. We're on opposite sides. Western Kentucky.
No. I got you.
Let me just make sure that's what I have. My brain feels like Jello. I've got all my family in town for Christmas. I'm sequestered from my house because they're having a girls' sleepover, which makes me sick. Just kidding. Mom, if you're watching, I'm sorry.
No, he's not.
No, it's fun. They missed just family business. It's no one cares about, but it's my show. They all had COVID during Thanksgiving, so they couldn't spend Thanksgiving with us when they were in town.
Oh, that sucked.
So the girls are excited. I have the under. Yep, that's what I got. And I did a video on it. So that's that, Lance LaRose. Thank you for being here and on ESPN everywhere. See you everywhere. All right, next game. Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. You guys are kind of from the South. What's a Gasparilla?
Not a clue.
No idea.
Yeah, I've always wondered that.
Not a clue.
I don't even care to Google it because it's a who gives a fuck.
ECU almost made this bowl.
Yeah.
We'll get to that one, but it's very interesting to me that 2 Carolina teams are playing in a shitty ass bowl and have to travel. Anyway, we'll talk about that. Yeah. Wake Forest is 7-5. Missouri is 6-6. Line is Wake Forest -2. Totals at 57. What do I have down here? I actually have a play in this. So why don't you run through the injuries and then we'll double back towards my chicken scratch.
Yeah, well, we'll break down the injuries and we'll break down where the money's going as well, because that's something I'm going to also bring into this as well.
Cool.
For Wake Forest, running back Christian Turner opted out after ranking second on the team in yardage and won't be playing this game. Number three back Quentin Cooley is also transferring, but plans to play on this game. Defensive back Gavin Holmes, who had 23 tackles, opted to transfer, and Jerkery Johns is also out in this game as well. On the Mizzou side, a receiver Dominic Lovett is entering the transfer portal, and three key defenders, lineman Isaiah McGuire and DJ Coleman, and safety Martez Manuel all opted out to prepare for the NFL draft. So they're missing three of their bigger defenders on that side of the ball. Let's take a look where the money's coming in on this game. Let's where the markets are moving and all that fun jazz. I just has to refresh because I had to click out the last bowl game. There we go. All right. We're seeing a little bit of sharp money coming in on a side in this game as it's still continuing to load, but I was able to see we have 65% of tickets on one side and 57% of the cash on the under. So it shows, or on the other side, my bad, on the other side. So we have 65% of the tickets are on Wake Forest, but only 43% of the cash. 35% of tickets are on Missouri, 57% of the cash. A little bit sharper money coming in on Missouri in this game. This line did open at Wake Forest minus 3.5. And the money came in on Mizzou to bring this basically immedately from 3.5 to a pick on -1, and it's gone back up to -2. So basically, this line opened up at a pick 'em. It didn't open up at a pick 'em, but it opened at 3.5. But line immediately moved towards the pick 'em range with Mizzou. Looking at the total in this game, it opened up at 62, and it looks like down. All right, sorry, there's a dog here. It looks like the line opened up at a 62. Money came in on the under in this game, and it's gone from 62, or it started around 62, went up to 63, then it's now went right down to 58.5. So it looks like the under has been steamed in this game, and initial money coming in on Mizzou in this game. I'm looking towards the SEC school in this game. I'm looking towards Mizzou in this spot, especially with actually, wasn't it Wake or Mizzou's missing 3 of their linemen here? But
Mizzou's
Wake Forest,
yeah.
So Wake Forest is not a great team. I think Mizzou is probably the look in this game. In this spot, the sharp money is coming in on Mizzou. That's what I'm kind of really looking at here. And usually with these bowl games, that's what I'm going to start to look at here to see where the sharper money is coming in. And I know these are tough to trust sometimes, but when it comes to these bowl games, I kind of feel like these numbers are a little bit more important than the regular games. So I'm looking at Mizzou here, and you can get them for what's the line on Mizzou? I'm seeing +2 or +115. I'll probably grab +115 with Mizzou.
What do you think, Timmy?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to look towards Mizzou as well. It's just one of the ACC versus SECs, and the SEC always has the upper hand for me because unless it's like, and I think the only team that I would really prefer if I was to bet an ACC school against a SEC is Clemson. I think that's about the only school that I would be willing to bet against that. Maybe UNC this year. SEC is just on a totally different level of just skill in terms of them compared to the ACC. So you can even look at that, even though the Vanderbilts and Mizzou's, even the bottom of the SEC, those players are probably still better than the ones that go to Wake Forest, just because of how the talent level is there. So in bowl games, I got to lean towards the SEC schools, and you get plus money for them. So I'm kind of all right with that. It's another one where you get Mizzou's. I mean, they're 6-6 this year, but you look at their losses this year, and they came to Kansas State, who ended up winning the Big 12. Auburn, okay, that's a bad loss. Georgia, Florida, Kentucky when they were playing decent, Tennessee. Like they're not bad losses minus Auburn. And I'm all right with backing them. You get Wake Forest, who struggled against Duke, struggled against UNC, lost to NC State on a backup quarterback, got blown out by Louisville. Yeah, no, I'll take Mizzou in this matchup.
So I found my notes, and Leroy says you're tripping on Missouri, and I'm gonna go with Leroy here. This is what I.
Oh, he's the easy money guy. This is easy money, Leroy.
Oh, easy money. Well, the Squares, Leroy. The Squares wins 50% of the time, so let us be Squares this time. Wake Forest is the 10th best passing offense in the country. Mizzou has the 38th best passing defense in the country. But then I looked and saw that Mizzou is 9th best at sack rate on defense. They're missing two defensive linemen. They're two best defensive linemen. So one of the best passing squads is going to have more time to throw. But here's a stat that's a killer. Wake Forest is 5-0 this season when allowing less than 30 points, or 2-5 when they allow more. Mizzou's only hit that 3 times, and these are the teams that they hit it against: La Tech, New Mexico State, one of the worst teams, and then Abilene Christian, which is an FCS school. So
basketball school.
Yeah, they're not FB. They're F.
They're a basketball school.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. There's some school in Texas. So that's a very strong trend with very important injuries out, and I know that money thing is something to think about, but you guys know how I feel about that. So I'm gonna be laying 1.5 points. I can get 1.5 points minus 115. That's an official play.
That's fine.
Yeah, and this is where different capping is different. Neither rationale is bad on either side. We just have different feelings about it.
No, you suck.
Well, not the first time I've heard that. But anyways, that I like that one. We actually had opinions on it, and we went against each other. That's how this should be. On to the next one, the easy post Hawaii Bowl. Probably, if you've never been there, Hawaii's okay. Honolulu's okay, but if you've never been there and you're a college student, it's cool. Middle Tennessee, 7-5. San Diego State, 7-5. Finally, some winning records. San Diego State's a 7-point favorite. 49.5 is the total. This did open up at 3.5. So, for whatever reason, it's jumped up. I have an opinion on the total. I don't have an opinion on the side, but let's go to the injuries and transfer portal and money and all that, and we'll kind of backtrack to the total on my pick.
Yeah. And for this game, there's nothing for transfer portal or anything along those lines. Nothing significant that the website is telling us about. So we were able to cap this as a normal game, and I had this around 8.5 in favor of the Aztecs. I had to do this for picks and parlays today. I gave out the Aztecs -7 just because that was the slight lean. Don't know if I'm going to get involved in that though. Let's take a look at where this line history is what we're going to call it. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's where the money is gone or not. It's nice to know where this line opened up and how this line has moved to where the money has come in or the supposed money has come in. Sometimes this is trustworthy, sometimes it's not. It is what it is. But it's just loading up real quick. It just takes a second for all the numbers to load up here when it comes to this. But we have Middle Tennessee, who opened up at 3.5. This was on the 5th, but that immediately moved to 7. That I don't think 3.5s were readily available to anybody because it shows 0% of the tickets and 0% of the money on both sides. We're on the 3.5. Oh, my bad. It shows one bet on the 3.5. So that was not readily available to everybody. So this real line was 7. It opened up at a 7. And money has come pouring in on, well, it looked like it's 7. I mean, it started opened up with public money on San Diego State here. But it's kind of balanced out to where even though it stayed at 7, looks like the money is moved towards move towards Middle Tennessee taking the money as well. So this one's kind of tricky on the side. When it comes to the total, this game opened up at a 47. Once again, that was readily available to nobody. And then moved to 49. And it looks like the bigger bets were coming in on the under in this one here. And this line has gone from 49 to 48.5. So maybe the under is a look in this game. San Diego State was a team that I remember did play more towards unders during the season in this game. And I don't trust Middle Tennessee was a little bit of an over team, though. Middle Tennessee put up 29.2 points per game, but that was in Conference USA, which sucks. And San Diego State played to a couple overs towards the end of the season, but that was a 36 total, a 41 total, a 44.5 total. This is a team that was number 20 in the nation, giving up 20.2 points per game, and 109th in the nation, scoring 21.3 points per game out of 49.5. This is a really high total for a San Diego State game. Kind of looking at the under 49.5 in this game. I gave out the Aztecs earlier today on a stream, but I kind of like looking at this a little bit deeper. I kind of like the under better.
Where are you at, Tim?
I really don't know. I mean, you get a Conference USA against a Mountain West, so that's kind of like the two lower conferences, two of the lower ones, along with like the MAC. And is San Diego State 6.5 points better than Middle Tennessee? Probably, but I'm just this one's one of the weird games because it's in Hawaii, and that could be a big distraction. It could not be a big distraction. We don't know how these players are kind of working with all that, because I know we like to look at the numbers and all that stuff. At the end of the day, they're still human beings, and they're still college kids that could get easily distracted in nice places. That's why, like the Bahamas Bowl could have that's why I figured that one would be a close game. Maybe this game is a close game. I don't hate the idea of taking 6.5 with Middle Tennessee. Might try to do like a little bit of a teaser in this game. Maybe grab Middle Tennessee plus like 12.5 and then take the under, like what Nick said. Try to get like a closer, lower scoring game in this one, especially in Hawaii. Time changes. This one could be an interesting game. This one also could be just a very boring game to watch. Probably just run with the teaser in this one, or I would probably lean Tennessee, mid Tennessee at least.
Jay, yeah, we went over that first. We're on opposite sides. Catch the replay. We both got picks on both sides. And gave justification for it. I'm on the under in this game, so that's what I'm with you there. SDSU averages 19.8 points a game on offense, but their defense gives up 21.4. And Middle Tennessee did score 27 and gave up 30. So, but you don't have to worry about. I mean, I have this thing about teams that people are like, oh, this team gives up a lot of points. Well, you got to look at how many points the other team scores. So that's kind of a wash. And when you look at a Middle Tennessee, they pass. Their passing's good, but their run deep offense is bad. And SDSU's pass defense is 28th in the country. So I don't know where the points are going to come from. By the way, only 3 of the games that SDSU played went over 49.5, were 50 or more. So I love the under official play. I had that before the show. Yeah,
I'm going to jump on that as well.
Yes, sirree, Bob. Sound like a 90-year-old man. All right, next game. Quick Lane Bowl. Like the name, it's quick. It's Quick Lane Bowl. We don't have the the long ass bowl names. Anyways,
Yeah.
Mexico State 6-6. How the hell they got to a bowl? God only knows. Bowling Green.
They beat a bad team at the end of the year.
Yeah. Well, they are a bad team. They were a fake.
Who do they beat? They beat Valpo. They beat Valpo to get
well,
their
we're
last
going to get into that. We're going to get into that in a second about who they schedule, and they're still god awful. But Bowling Green 6-6, another bad team from the MAC. Bowling Green's 3.5 point favorites. Total is 48.5. I don't have anything as far as injuries. I'll let Nick do his thing. And I guess I'll be giving my pick last. That's probably best, just me to intro it and then go into it. But what do you see on that site? I use the same site you did or you use,
Yeah.
and I didn't see anything.
The only thing I see is for New Mexico State quarterback Diego Paiva was banged up in the December 3rd win over Valparaiso, and he's expected to play in this game. Punter John Carlson transferred to Arizona State.
Oh no,
That's
not
the funny thing.
They lost to punter.
Oh no.
On that report, the only thing that was of note, besides the quarterback got hurt and he's still playing, is that they lost their punter. That just shows you how exciting these schools are, as far as football goes. But
yeah, but then when we let's take a look at the where the line is gone, and see all that fun stuff. Looks like this line opened up at +2 for New Mexico State. And then looks like the early-ish money came in on New Mexico State, but this line's gone up. And actually, once it hit 3, it was actually being bet the opposite way. Bowling Green is getting the what I'm considering the sharp money, because we're seeing percentages in the 30s and low 40s, even though the cash is in the 60s and 70s at this 3.5 number here, even though it opened up at 3. I kind of like Bowling Green in this one here, and I know Bowling Green's not a great school, but New Mexico State was, how the hell did they get in a bowl game? This is what they had to do to get into a bowl game. They beat Valparaiso 65-3. Previous to that, though, they had one of the most impressive wins in college football this year. As a 24-point favorite, they win by 35, which is the largest cover since point spreads started. This team had also gone over in 4 straight games to end the year, over 49, over 46.5, over 50.5, and over 55. They played Valparaiso, Liberty, Missouri, which they lost 45-14, and Lamar. Lamar is a decent FCS school. I remember I bet on them a couple weeks ago in the quarterfinals, or the first round of the FCS playoffs. They were a good little school. But they also played UMass, New Mexico, FIU, Hawaii. They get blown out by Wisconsin. This is a team that's played absolutely freaking nobody. And they win these games and they get into a bowl game. Good for you. You played nobody and you won 6 games against nobodies, with half your wins coming against Division II schools. Or not Division II schools, FCS schools. On the other side, Bowling Green, probably the worst bowl eligible MAC school. And I still have interest in them here, even though they didn't really play many people anyway, or either. But when you just compare these two schools, let me index this game. Let's see what the power rating for this one is, because both these schools are pretty bad for this game as well. So I'm gonna what do you call it? I'll come back to me. It's a lean towards Bowling Green at the moment, but I want to see where
back to you. But a little break. I had the Pacers today, first half +6.5. I got it early. The Pacers are up 28 points on the Celtics at half.
In Boston.
Yeah, in Boston.
What the hell is going on with Boston?
I know, but
they aren't as good as we thought they were.
I'm going to say this about by the way, I think I would rather take Jaylen Brown than Jason Tatum. That's my opinion. But people are talking about Jason Tatum being a superstar. He's a star. He's not a superstar. And even though, he's shown last year a little bit in the playoffs, he's fucking overrated. And the Celtics are overrated. I'm sorry, Nasty Nate, if you're watching. I know you're not, but anyway, Tim, I'll go with mine, and maybe you can just jump off this. So I'm on. Game are we on? Oh yeah, New Mexico, Bowling Green. I'm on the under. New Mexico. We talk about teams that give up a lot of points on defense, but it doesn't matter if they don't score. So we have 19 points per game for New Mexico and 20.8 points per game for Bowling Green. So we're talking about the 115th and 106 scoring offenses in the country, which is only 132 teams. And New Mexico State averages 19 points a game. Well, shit, 65 versus Valparaiso and 51 versus Lamar. If those weren't there, they'd be scoring less than 2 touchdowns a game, or right around that. So 48.5 is way too high under official play. New Mexico State and Bowling Green. Even though their colors aren't even green, that didn't make sense to me. Aren't they brown?
That's
and
where
orange?
they're in. That's
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, Tim, what do you think?
Bowling Green by a lot. I know it's a 6-6 versus 6-6. We just went over what Valparaiso, New Mexico State, who they beat in order to get to the bowl game. Valpo, Liberty, fine, Liberty's a good one. Lamar, UMass, New Mexico, and Hawaii. They lost this year against FAU as a 16.5 point favorite. They lost to Nevada, who, lost to Incarnate Word. They lost to Minnesota, fine. UTEP, who's not a good team. Wisconsin, 66-7, who had a bad year. They lost to Mizzou by a lot. This is not a team that I'm expecting to do anything. And then Bowling Green, sure, they played they're in a MAC team. At least they they have okay wins this year. Marshall, Akron, Miami of Ohio, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, and Toledo. Toledo just won the MAC. I think that was a good win for them. But all those, they have a lot better of wins than New Mexico State do. And I think the line movement is justified. I think this one opened up around a pick 'em and it went up to Bowling Green -3.5. I think Bowling Green by double digits.
I don't hate Bowling Green as a side. I just think this total is silly.
This one's
I
got
think
like
what I'm-
24-6 written all over it.
Yeah, it should be like 42, 43 at most.
See, probably what I'm going to look to do with this game, and then we'll move on to the next one. I'm going to wait till probably the day of or when these lines are available on my book, and I'm going to grab New Mexico State team total under in this game.
Yeah, because those don't come out until then too. I'm sure. I mean, yeah, they might score. They might not even get to double digits.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on to the next game, which is, and I don't know how to say this. Is this Camellia? Is this Camilla? Because in
Camellia
Spanish,
Bowl?
well,
Camellia
two
Bowl?
L's in Spanish. It's silent. It's supposed to be ya instead of la. So it's not polo. It's pollo. Anyways, enough about my infatuation with words and language. We all know how I feel about the Canadiens and the Leafs. Anyways,
you've never told us. What do you think?
Well, not on this show because we don't talk hockey that much. But anyway,
That's
Georgia
not
Southern
hockey,
6-6, Buffalo 6-6. The line's at -3.5. Dave, you shitty ass producer, didn't put it down. It's Georgia State or Georgia Southern, I think. I don't. By the way, it shows you how much I care about this game. I have zero opinion.
It is Georgia Southern.
Yeah, it is Southern. And 67.5. The only thing of note here is that I wrote down, well, there's a couple things. Kyle Van Treese. He's a Buffalo transfer to Georgia Southern. He's like a 6-year player or 7-year player. He's caught all those extra years of eligibility. And Buffalo, although they're not out, both their running backs didn't play in the finale. But their wide receiver, tight end, and a DB is in the portal. So there's some interesting things here. I got involved with these teams once or twice this year betting. I have no feel on it. My line's right at where the line's supposed to be. I don't know if this Kyle Van Treese, the quarterback for Georgia Southern, is a compelling story, like playing his ex-team in a bowl game. This isn't Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. The other Alabama, actually, why are there so many in Alabama? Mobile, Montgomery, and Birmingham all had bowls.
Because Alabama loves football.
I know, but bowl games are supposed to be like cool places. Not that Alabama's not cool, but it's not as cool as San Diego. It's not as cool as other places. I'd rather play. Well, Alaska, it's cold. Never mind, but it'd be cool to go there.
That would be very fun to go to.
Yeah, but it'd have to be a dome game.
Yeah, I think the only bowl game I've been to was at Yankee Stadium. It was the inaugural Pinstripe Bowl between Kansas State and Syracuse. Good game.
Anyways, Nick, take it away. This is a who gives a shit, but go ahead.
Yeah, let's take a look. For these two schools, we have nothing on the Georgia Southern side. For Buffalo, running backs Ron Cook Jr. and Al J. Henderson. They did not play in the regular season finale against Akron. but we don't know their status. Receiver Jamari Gassett and tight end Trevor Borland entered the portal. And safety Keyshawn Cobb had also entered the portal as well in this game. We get MAC versus we get Sun Belt Conference in this game. Looking at where the money's coming on this one here, we're seeing 30% of the tickets and 20% of the cash is on Buffalo. So 70% of the tickets, 80% of the cash is on Georgia Southern. Not too many tickets to go off of in this game because there's still plenty of this feels like a who gives a shit bowl. There's very limited sample size in this game, and this line has stayed at 3.5, and this total has stayed at 67. So we really have nothing to go off of in this game. It's Georgia Southern or nothing grabbing, or is Georgia Southern the favorite or the dog? That shows how much
favorite. 3.5 points.
That makes sense. I don't know. This would probably have to be a lean towards Georgia Southern, even laying the points. I remember backing this team a few times this year. I made a couple bucks with them. I remember I had them outright against Nebraska early in the season as like 24-point dogs. It was a beautiful thing. I had them like plus 1,000. Beautiful. That was just the fade Nebraska every game until Scott Foster got fired type of strategy. But yeah, for me, this is and I don't know yet. I have to look deeper into it.
Tim, do you have an opinion on this, or can we move on?
I gotta say, I hope Georgia Southern can just lose tonight in basketball by at least 9 points to ball. I'm sorry, I don't care about this game.
Yeah. I don't see an angle here. I mean,
it's 2 6-6 teams, but you know what? When it comes to this day, everybody's gonna have a bet on this game. You know why? It's at noon.
Yeah,
it's a noon game. That's the only reason people are gonna care about it.
Yeah,
you know what? I would lean over, just because Buffalo is a MAC team, and you know how MAC schools like to play, and Georgia Southern I think can run with them. So I think I would lean over in this game, but at 67.5. I don't know if I really.
Yeah, I looked at that too because Georgia Southern was an option team, and then all of a sudden this quarterback comes from Buffalo, and I forget what they are, but they're like a top 20, top 15 school. I actually think they're 9th in the country passing yards per game. Either way, it's just nothing compelling.
No.
You're right. Probably by the time we're there, we'll find being degenerates or find a way to have money on it. But capping it now, this is uninteresting. This is vanilla flavored yogurt. Banal.
And I will say, I was looking at the NBA real quick. Yeah, Indiana is up 71-49, which is a 22-point game, and it's not the biggest blowout of the day. Because the Brooklyn Nets are up 95-52 on Golden State.
Yeah,
Golden State's gonna have a problem with no Curry, no Klay Thompson tonight. Green's been banged up. Whatever is it, not Poole's banged up. Like this is a Golden State team's gonna struggle.
Yeah, they seemed really deep too. I don't know, but good.
They're such a deep team. They're so good. No.
Well, good for them. Good for the Nets. Whatever. I'm not a Nets. I'm a fade the Nets type of guy. This year it seems like a lot of people are on them, but anyway. Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. Memphis 6-6. Go figure. 2 6-6 teams. Memphis 6-6. Utah State 6-6. The line is Memphis minus 7.5. Totals at 60.5. What do I have written down here? Oh, Utah State. Their leading rusher went to the portal.
Yeah. That explains the 9.5 to 7.5.
Yep. And I also have Memphis as 11-point favorites indexed. So as much as I hate laying big lines, I'm leaning towards Memphis. I'm not giving it out officially. Nick, take it away.
Yeah. Let's take a look at what we got here. It's just the leading rusher. That's all that's mentioned here. Calvin Tyler Jr. has entered the NFL draft. So that is all we've got for this game. I mean, and what's the line in this game? You said
7.5 and a hook. lose the hook in it?
Probably. Let's
Okay,
let's
buy
see
it.
let's see what it is if you choose to lose the hook here and
Probably
just
like minus 130 or some shit.
it's not letting me do that because this game's too far out. Probably.
Yeah, those key number hooks on points are way more expensive than
Yes, when you go from when you go from 3 to 2.5 or
yeah
3 to 3.5 as a dog, you're gonna pay a little extra than if you're going from 4.5 to 4.
yeah. I'm getting 3.5 points of line value without any changes. I'm not on it yet, but go ahead.
Yeah. This line opened up at Utah State minus or plus 9.5. That was available to virtually nobody before it truly came out at 8. And then some money came in on the Aggies here, and it went from 8 to 7. It looks like sharp money coming in on the Aggies here. Yeah, it looks like it's one of those situations where the majority of the tickets are on one side, but the majority of the cash is on the other side. It looks like Utah State is the sharp side in this spot. When we look at just market numbers in general here in this game, as much as I would like to back an American Conference team, Memphis is not a team I'm looking to lay over a touchdown with. That's just not something I'm wanting to do. This game looks like a Utah State type of play. Where is this game located? Where's
Dallas, Texas?
Dallas, Texas. So it's a travel for both teams.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at what the total has done. Basically, it opened up at 60.5 and it's gone up to 61.5. So it's kind of just kind of stayed the same there. As we're getting further out with these bowls, my ticket numbers are getting way less. So these are less that we could follow. For me, it's the dog or pass at this moment. This is probably something I'll bet closer to game day, though.
Tim, first responder bowl.
Yeah, that's probably something similar. Is probably not a play that I want to look at right now. Memphis, we've seen live. We saw them have a 4 overtime game against East Carolina, so we've seen them in person. So that was kind of cool. But honestly, it's not a team that I overly trust. They had a struggle of a year. I remember there was one game where they were up 2 scores late against Houston and then lost 33-32. That one was rough. They had a good start to the year. We thought they were going to be halfway decent when they started 4-1. And then they proceeded to lose 4 straight and 5 out of their last 7 to end the year, with their only 2 wins at the end of the year being to Tulsa and who is this one? I can't even tell who this is. North Alabama. And what do you call it? School, a basketball school. That they won 59-0. So they had to get a win against a garbage team in order to get into this. As much as, once again, as Nick mentions, much as I would love to back one of our conference teams, I really can't. Although Utah State has been very disappointing this year as well. I remember in the beginning of the year. Remember the story where one person put like $1,000 on Utah State to win the national championship.
Wow! And
after they won the Mountain West last year, and they figured, they have Alabama in the second game. We'll know by then.
Yes. I mean, I couldn't think of a worse way to
piss away money.
I could think, but that guy should have just flushed that down the toilet.
I should have been his bookie for that one. I would have given him.
What were the odds? What were
100 to 1? It was like 100 to 1.
I would have given him 1,000 to 1.
1,000 to 1 or something like that. 500 to 1.
It had to have been worse than 100 to 1. There's no way.
Yeah. Sorry, it probably would have been like plus 50,000 or something like that. Yeah. He would have been a millionaire.
Yeah. Well,
I wish I could be a bookie for these stupid bets.
Yeah, me too.
Anyway, we'll get to this next game, which there's actually, we'll say that was this the best bowl game of the bowl season? I don't know.
I mean, I think so personally, but
get it up here. Ticketmaster Birmingham Bowl. We have this is the thing. Coastal Carolina 9-3.
ECY.
Oh yeah, ECU. Whatever. ECU minus. I told you I'm a horrible producer.
Don't say that.
CCU, ECU, both with winning records. Finally, we're getting some teams that can play some football. There are a lot of there's coaching, there's transfers, there's injuries, and
On
plus you
coastal
guys,
side.
yeah, you guys live in Carolina. One of you goes to one of these schools. So I'll just either one of you can take it and run with it. And I am a big question mark on this game. I have this indexed as East Carolina 4.5, but there's a lot of shit going on. So who knows if
Yeah,
that's
one of the main things with Coastal Carolina is their main quarterback is in the transfer portal. So, or NFL draft or something, one of those. One of the biggest passers of in the Sun Belt this year, whatever it was. I don't remember his name. Nick, do you have the guy's name off the top of your head?
Yes, I have all the information here if you want it.
Okay, go ahead.
There we go. Head coach Jamie Caldwell left Coastal Carolina to take over at Liberty. Defensive coordinator Chad Staggs will work as the interim head coach for this game. Starting center Willie Lampkin, first team all Sun Belt, entered the portal. Quarterback Grayson McCall, who some people had Heisman potentially hopes for him, returned to play in the Sun Belt Championship game against Troy, did not appear 100%, although McCall has entered the transfer portal. He will play in the Birmingham Bowl. He's not 100%. It ends Josiah Stewart and cornerbacks Manny Stokes and Zaquan Reeves have all transferred. So they lost a bit on their defense here. East Carolina on the other side here. Starting center Avery Jones and safety Sean Dussier entered the transfer portal. And tight end Ryan Jones won't play as he is declared for the NFL draft. So, yeah, Ryan Jones is going to the NFL,
Really?
which I can't wait to see him play on Sundays when he gets picked in the 6th round and maybe makes a practice squad. But for this game, this is pretty plain and simple. We'll be in attendance here for this one. So this is a homer pick. I'm going to be on East Carolina laying the points. I'm going to wait and probably buy this down to a 7. But yeah, I'm going to look at East Carolina in this game.
Tim, you're on Coastal, right?
Oh yeah, Coastal money line -5.5, -9.5. Them to okay. No, we're gonna be on East Carolina. We'll probably have a bunch of fun little props. I want to see if there's any. Is there player props for college football, Nick? All right,
Yes.
I will probably grab 2 touchdown props. I'll probably grab 3 touchdown props for East Carolina. Those will be Holton Ayers, which is the quarterback, but he runs a lot. It will be All-American Keaton Mitchell, the running back, and Mr. C.J. Johnson, which is one of the wide receivers. I'm betting these because I know the team. If they're going to score, it's going to be through those 3 guys, without our Isaiah Winstead, which maybe might get a little bit of a better line with him. But if they're gonna score, that's who's going to be through. So I'd probably try to look towards them. But I'm not. I'm probably have small bets on them. We're going to the game. So we're going to bet a bunch of stuff to go along with it. I'll probably have a little bit too much money invested in this game. It's fine. We don't get to go to bowl games that often. We were almost able to go to the last year's, except for Boston College had a COVID outbreak and they canceled the Military Bowl. So this is the first bowl game that we'll be attending since the one that we went to for Syracuse, but should be a fun game. I'm excited to go. This is a homer game for us. That's why
I'll probably double up on them first half full game. I expect them to blow them out. Truthfully.
I'll be rooting for him. I won't put my money on this. Yeah. I still think it's weird that 2 teams from the same state. I mean, I guess it happens all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying that it's that way, but it happens.
There are a lot of cooler places that are closer. But anyway, I don't make the rules. Correct. Guaranteed Rate Bowl. Wisconsin 6-6. Wow, that's not a good year for them. Oklahoma State 7-5. That's not a good year for them either. Wisconsin's 3.5-point favorites. Totals at 43.5. I know the total's down from where it opened. So we've got there's a bunch of stuff going on with these 2 teams too. I'll let Nick do that and come back to my pick. But I've got 2 bets in this game. One on the side and one on the total. Official plays. But go ahead with the injuries and portal and stuff.
Yeah, a lot to go over in this game here. As we have Graham Mertz transferred. Chase Wolf or Miles Burkett will start under center. Burkett will start under center. We do not know who. Badgers will also be without starter Joe Tibbett, center, defensive linebacker Keanu Benton, and cornerback Jay Shaw. Linebacker Nick Herbig declared for the NFL draft, and interim head coach Jim Leonard won't be retained as the full-time head coach, but will lead Wisconsin in this game. On the other side, Oklahoma State their quarterback Spencer Sanders entered the portal. It'll be Gunnar Gundy or Garrett Rangel under center. I can only imagine it's going to be Mr. Gunner there with his his dad being the head coach. And they will also be without starting linebacker Mason Cobb and without running back Dominic Richardson for this game as well. And also Trace Ford and safety Thomas Harper transferred as well. And looking at this spot for me, this is tricky. This is really, really tricky in this game. Let's take a look where the money is coming on this game, as this takes forever to load. And, of course, North Carolina, that game under loses with 2 seconds left on a meaningless.
Yeah, I was about to say. Real quick, we had the under in the UNC Michigan game, under 153.5. They foul. It was at 152. Michigan fouls. UNC shoots 2 shots, makes 1, misses 1. So it's at 153. I'm like, oh, awesome. He missed it. We're going to be good. Michigan guy goes and shoots up a 3 with a second to go and hits it. Meaningless 3, puts it over the total.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Been there for sure.
Yeah. So there we go. Now I got all the – thanks for the stalling there. Now we got where the line is. This line opened up at 3, and it has stayed at 3. And actually, it's gone up to 3.5 just recently. Yesterday, it went up to 3.5 on most books. And money's been more towards Wisconsin. But it's been about a split. Actually, it's been a decent chunk towards Wisconsin, and it finally moved to a 3.5. So they finally respected the Wisconsin money coming in. And the total for this game, let's take a look. It opened up at a 43, and it stayed at 43, and the under is getting hammered right now, but very limited sample size. So not too much we can go over. This is another game that I'll probably look towards the dog a little bit here, getting 3.5 with Oklahoma State. I need to see where this line moves a little bit more and what the market does, because there's very limited sample size for me there. Unfortunately, this is really far ahead, but it's a lean towards Oklahoma State for me.
What do you think, Tim?
I am very disappointed in this Oklahoma State team because in the beginning of the year, when I gave out a long shot, I said Oklahoma State 50-1 to win the national championship. Looked good when they started off 5-0. Lost to TCU, whatever. We see what TCU's done. A win against Texas, great. 48-0 loss to Kansas State. Ugh. Like, wow, okay. Lost to Kansas. Blowout loss to Kansas by 21 points. Or 15 points. 21 points. I can do math. 21 points. A win against Iowa State, whatever. Lost to Oklahoma and a loss to West Virginia to end the year. This team is probably very disappointed in what happened this year. Wisconsin, we didn't really expect much from. They've been just really rough all year long. I lean Oklahoma State, probably like a one last hurrah for the team that I was high on this year, but they have been very, very disappointing this year. And as for a total, I after what it's moved 5 points already. I really can't do anything much with it.
Well, I still like it. Jay Shank, you're on Wisconsin. Fuck Bowling Green. Okay, I don't know if
I don't have a strong feel on this game yet.
Well, I have 2 plays already, and this has as most of the time when you see all this switcheroo, there's you should heed and have some caution. But Oklahoma, both of these schools are without their starting QB. Spencer Sanders is going to be like a 6 or 7 year senior. But Gunnar Gundy has experience, and this Wisconsin quarterback has very little. In fact, Gunnar Gundy started 2 games or started 1 game and came in and filled in for most of another game. I was looking at his stats. So he has some experience. And I have this game at a pick'em with the quarterbacks in, and the major player that's out is that. So if I'm leaning with experience and I'm getting points, I'm leaning that way. And what added to it was Wisconsin's 2-7 against teams with a winning record this year. ATS 2-7. That's with their starting quarterback. And a neat little trend that I don't know how much you want to put into it, but it might have something. 6-0 last 6 bowl games. ATS or the Cowboys. So
they've also been a lot better than they were the last couple of years.
Of course. I think these two quarter. I think both of these sides kind of evened back out with all of these, switcheroos that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on Oklahoma State getting 3 and a hook, and then I'm on the under even at 43.5 because Oklahoma State was 20 or less points their last 5 games. Wisconsin was 23 or less points their last 4 games. They aren't scoring points. What are they going to score more points with backup quarterbacks? So I like the under. So I've got Oklahoma State getting points and the under in this game. Those are my 2 official plays.
That's fair.
Move on
I really like the next game.
Do you? Yeah.
Yes, I do.
There's some interesting things in this game. We'll pull it up right now. The Military Bowl, and this sponsors some Pentrack or Pentress, whatever. It's not the name first. It's sponsored.
Paratron.
Yeah, it's sponsored by Paratron, which I don't know why they do it that way. It's probably
because it's the Military Bowl.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, UCF 9-4, Duke 8-4. Duke is a 3.5-point favorite. Didn't this line rip through? What weren't
it went through 0. Yeah,
went through 0. Yep, UCF
Wow.
were favorites. John Reese Plumlee, he's been playing hurt. He's not on the injury report, but he's a question mark. UCF's got a bunch of transfers. I'll let Nick get into that, but I have a play on this. I have a lean to a side. It'll probably be a play, but go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, starting quarterback John Reese Plumlee is dealing with a hamstring and shoulder injury the last half of the season. His status is up in the air. Number 1 receiver Ryan O'Keefe, top linebacker Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste, and defensive back Devontae Brown have all transferred. So they lost one of their bigger defensive guys. They lost their top receiver, and they lost one of their top linebackers.
Now that's why this UCF side.
Yeah, that's on the USC side.
I also read,
side.
not on Athlon, by the way, that the backup quarterback's going to the transfer portal, so they have no choice unless Plumlee plays, pretty much. But anyways, go ahead.
Fair.
So they need Plumlee to play. So that's kind of the way it is. And then nothing on the Duke side. Very limited sample size. So I can't even really go over this. I can go over where the line is moved, but the money means absolutely nothing because they're very limited ticket numbers. This line opened up at -2.5 for Central Florida, and it's gone from that from -2.5 to -1 to +1.5 to +2 to 2.5 to 3 and 3.5 on some spots. So this has been nothing but Duke, and more Duke. It would have to be Duke, I think, especially if it's going to be a backup quarterback or the 3rd-string quarterback potentially for Central Florida. Duke, you can get -3 at -116 on Bet Online right now. That may be something I move on now, and I know I'm getting the ass end of the line. I'm getting a terrible line, whatever you want to call it. But this is a spot here where Duke may win this game by double digits because UCF has nothing really. They're going to be without their top 2 quarterbacks. So I'm going to jump on Duke here. I'm going to take Duke -3. I know I'm getting a terrible line for this one, but the line's moved for a reason. I'm going to look at Duke -3 in this game.
Shaking your head, Timmy.
I'll be on UCF. Now I know that they're going to missing a couple of players. It's more of a little brother, big brother type of thing because you get the American and the ACC, which are kind of like the Mountain West and the Pac-12. I like to make that kind of back and forth with them. UCF has been solid the past couple of years. Duke is a program that finally got something going this year, and I believe their win total this year was 3.5, and they got 8 wins. They had a really good year. UCF, I picked them and Houston to be the top 2 in the American. UCF made the American championship game, so at least that happened. But I like UCF in this one. This is a game I'll back one of the American Conference teams. That and I mean obviously I'm backing ECU, and I'll probably be backing Tulane, wherever they play. And those would be like the 3 American,
or they play USC.
Yeah.
Tulane.
But I'll be backing the American Conference teams there. But for this one, I am going to be backing an American Conference. I will be on UCF plus the points, getting plus money with them. I think they win this game. Even without a backup quarterback or whatever quarterback's in, UCF thrived on their good defense. So they
had a powerhouse offense.
Well, they had a good offense too, but one of the reasons why they made the American championship game is because they had a good defense as well. I think they'll be able to contain Duke. I was not super high on Duke coming into this year. You look at who they've played, who they beat: Temple, meh; Northwestern, meh; NCAAF, meh. Or is it a basketball school? Virginia.
Man, that's horrible. We're horrible.
Yeah. Virginia, not really high on. Miami was one of the biggest disappointments this year. Boston College, Virginia Tech, and then they had a good last game against Wake Forest. None of their wins was wow wins to me. So with this, I do like UCF. I think that they're, even with the backup, I will be grabbing Central Florida in this one. I think the line moved too much.
Now, if I can get up and above, like let's just say that we get the backup quarterback in this one here, and I can get maybe 6.5, 7 with UCF, then I'd probably be a little bit more interested. But if it's going to be the backup, now this may be a play where you take Duke -3 now and hope John Reese Plumlee gets ruled out, and this goes up to a 7, and you can middle it.
Yeah,
that may be a good spot here. I'm still taking Duke. Duke is going to be on my card.
So one thing that I'm leaning towards Duke, and I'll probably get there, but I'm not there now, is UCF had a really, really good rushing game. In fact, they were 8th in the country. And with a quarterback that's hurt, you're going to lean on that even more. Well, Duke had the 17th best rush defense. So if you look to kind of be the kryptonite for the other teams go to, I think Duke can probably give them a harder time on defense than they want. And also, when a number goes through 0, I don't feel bad that I didn't get the number. I say, holy shit, I should be on that. I've said that before. I have no problem taking a bad number that goes through 0 because that just shows you that's what the books want it. They're scared.
I mean, yeah, and also when even though it's moving through 0, it opened up at a 2. So, it opened up at 2.5, right? 2.5, I believe I said. So it just moved through a bunch of dead numbers. That's all it did.
Yeah.
Give me Duke -3. I'm going to bet that now.
Cool. Go on to the next matchup. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl. 2 Kansases. Kansas and Arkansas. 6-6. Wow, this is a disappointing year for both these teams because Kansas got off to a hot start and then petered out.
Kansas Kansas had a 2.5 win total. They did great this year.
Well, I was about to say no, they had a great year.
I think they maybe had higher expectations than going 500 with where they were going. It seemed
with the
like
way they started, sure.
Yeah. I do think Kansas was slightly overrated because you look at who they beat earlier on in the season, which was Tennessee Tech. West Virginia was a good win. I'll give them that one. West Virginia was a good win. Houston at the time, I thought was a good win. It turned out to not be a good win. Duke, meh. Iowa State, they lost to TCU, Oklahoma, Baylor. Beat Oklahoma State, lost to Texas Tech, Texas, and Kansas State. Like, all teams that were better than them.
Yeah.
Like,
you're right. I just thought maybe the
fact that they made a bowl game is crazy.
Yeah. Well, Arkansas, definitely, if they're 500, whenever that school goes 500, that is no bueno. They're still a 3-point favorite. Total is 69. 69.
Bet the total just because.
Yep. I think Arkansas has some coaching and portal and draft stuff. Kansas doesn't. I have no play in this. I see it as Kansas having more motivation to be there versus a team that's more talented in Arkansas that might not care to be there. And I have Arkansas as a 4-point favorite without any sort of weird portal stuff. So I'm not on this game in any way. Maybe I might be by then, but Nick, if you've got the changes, there's a coaching change.
Oh boy, we have a lot to go over for this game.
Yeah.
Starting for Kansas, we'll start with Kansas. The Jayhawks here. Starting quarterback Jalen Daniels returned for the final 2 games of the season after missing the previous 4 matchups due to injury. The time off in between the regular season, December 28th, could get him closer to 100%. So there's a good chance he might play in this game. And that's it for Kansas. On the other side, Arkansas defensive coordinator Barry Odom took a head coaching job at UNLV. Linebackers coach Michael Scherer is slated to call plays in this game. Linebacker Drew Sanders, who is a first-team All-SEC player, and center Ricky Stromberg, first-team All-SEC player, have opted out for the NFL draft. Fellow linebacker Bumper Pool is also out due to injury. Sweet name, Bumper Pool. Defensive back Miles Slusher and tight end Trey Knox and receiver Ketron Jackson entered the portal. Leading receiver Jaden Hasselwood has entered the NFL draft and will not be playing. Defensive lineman Isaiah Nichols, who started all 12 games this year, entered the portal on the 17th as well. Wow, Arkansas is going to be missing a lot of pieces. And they're laying 3 points. Let's take a look. Where did this line open is the question. Has this line moved based on what has happened so far? Because there hasn't been much market movement in this game.
It opened at 5.5.
Opened up at 5.5. It's gone down to a 3. I am interested in Rock Chalk Jayhawk here in this spot. Very early, but 52% of the tickets are on the Arkansas Razorback. 78% of the cash is on Kansas. This line did open up at that 5.5 mark. 5. It was bet down to all the way down to 3. I like Rock Chalk Jayhawk here. I'm going to grab 3 points for Kansas in this game before this line goes down. I think even more.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk cock.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk cock. Oh, it's a +2. So give me plus 122 for them to win this game outright. This line, now that it's gone below that marker, below that 3, I'll just grab the plus 1 and 122 here. Kansas money line against Arkansas.
All right, I feel we're going to get a dissenting opinion right now, but go ahead.
Tim's a bitch. All right,
you are. I like you. Just listed all the players who are gone, all the coaching staff that's gone, and Arkansas is still a favorite against a feel-good story in Kansas. Yay, Kansas made a bowl game for the first time in 15, 20 years? Yay, good job. They were projected 2.5 wins this year, and they went over in the first 3 games. This is Arkansas by double. You guys forget, this is still an SEC school against a Kansas school who is not a good school. Like, sure, they had a good year. They made it to a bowl game. I still don't think they're legit. I was backing them earlier in the year. They're a feel-good story. I think they're kind of run their. I think Kansas will be a very similar story to UConn. UConn went into the bowl game and got kind of blown out. I think Arkansas is the clear. We saw what happened when you get Arkansas that went into BYU, which is, I'll call BYU a very similar team to what Kansas was. Arkansas went into BYU earlier in the year and won 52-35. I can see something similar to that in this game. I do lean towards the over the 69, 69, but not a play I'm going to make. I do like Arkansas though in this matchup.
Yeah, I just see this as I'd probably lean Arkansas too, but I see this as Kansas being more motivated to be there, but Arkansas being. I mean, you got to think that a lot of the second stringers on Arkansas could start at Kansas. You got to think.
Oh,
that.
100%. That's
Yeah.
the point.
Yeah.
Arkansas is just that much better of a team.
Yeah. Well, I'm off this game, even though, I mean, you'd think that'd be an exciting. I don't know. The way these teams kind of ended the year.
I don't really think it matters all that much.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on to San Diego Credit Union Holiday Bowl. Shout out to San Diego Credit Union, one of my customers in a different life. Yes. Oregon 9-3, UNC 9-4. Finally, some teams that have some wins on the freaking board. Oregon is this line in total is nuts. Oregon laying 2 touchdowns in the total of 73.5. What do they think, that Oregon's going to score 55 points, 60 points? Probably, I guess.
Yeah, transfer portal.
Yeah. Both teams have coaching. Both have a bunch of, I remember I saw this one, have stuff going on all over the place. And the total opened up at 70.5, and has gone up with all of these changes. So Nick, take it away. This is a big question mark game, because we got to be able to get on something here.
Yeah, I have a feeling I know where I'm going to go for this game, because this is one play I was looking at for a little bit. Offensive coordinator Kenny Dillingham left to take over as head coach at Arizona State. Assistants Junior Adams and Drew Mayringer will work as play callers for the offense, so they'll be co-play callers. That's going to be fun to see.
UNC or Oregon?
Yeah,
because every country has two.
Oregon.
Thank you.
Linebacker Justin Flo and receiver Deontay Thornton transferred. Cornerback Christian Gonzalez, who is a first-team All-Pac-12 player, opted out for the NFL draft. On the other side, North Carolina offensive coordinator Phil Longo has left to take over play-calling duties at Wisconsin. It is unclear who will call the plays for them here. Here's a big one. Number 1 receiver Josh Downs has opted out to prepare for the NFL draft. UNC also lost a handful of players to the portal, including defensive lineman Keyshawn Silver and cornerbacks Tony Grimes and Storm Duck. And I want to say Tony Grimes transferred to the University of East Carolina.
Yes.
I want to say.
I think
Grimes transferred to East Carolina. So that's a nice little pickup there that the Pirates were able to get. He was a starter at North Carolina here. Not a great defense. And I could see defense being optional in this game, and this game could be the most exciting bowl game of the entire bowl season. Because these offenses are awesome to watch. Bo Nix, I think, is going to be playing in this game, and we're going to get Drake May in this game. So you're giving me 2 touchdowns, Drake May in this North Carolina offense. I'm taking North Carolina in this game. This is one of my favorite plays of the bowl season that I've had circled. There's a couple I've already had bet. Like I already bet Iowa -2 in the Music City Bowl. I've already bet Ohio State and TCU for the semifinals. This is one I had circled, though. I like the Tar Heels in this matchup here, getting 14 points. I know Oregon could be disappointed to be in this game a little bit, because this was a team just a couple weeks ago that was chasing a Pac-12 championship potentially and a national championship berth or a semifinal berth potentially if they won the Pac-12. You're giving me 14 points with North Carolina, and I get it. This is a home game for Oregon. I mean, you're not having to travel far compared to people from North Carolina. I know if I was a Tar Heel, I'd be pissed to be in this bowl game because I'm not going to California to watch a bowl game if I'm North Carolina. But UNC does travel well. UNC is one of more of those nationwide schools. Like they have fans all over America. They're like
I'll tell you what, San Diego's this time of year is probably the place you want to be.
Yeah. So give me the Tar Heels with the points in this game. That's where I'm going to go for this one. And I may, depending on what the number you're going to get for this one, because you're going to get a semi-reasonable number, even at a 73.5. North Carolina team total over, because I think they can put up some points in this game as well. So I lean over in this game. I think this game can get open over this really high number at 73.5. But North Carolina is my best bet on this game. And it may be the best bet of the show.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Tim, you in the
How about we just not worry about the points and just take UNC Cock plus 440, plus 430.
That will be sprinkled.
I mean,
It
it's
sounds
not
like a semi-homer type of deal going on.
I'm not a Tar Heel fan. I'm not a Tar Heel fan.
Okay.
I mean,
Oh,
that's one of the schools that I do root for with ECU.
I
UNC, and
lost that
Syracuse,
when
but-
I became a Pirate, and I'm getting 14 and a hook with North Carolina
Although
here.
you get these two teams, I do think UNC can keep this one competitive. I think 2 touchdowns is way too much with a quarterback that was in the Heisman. Both of them were in Heisman talks for a while, until both of them kind of fell off. But I do think UNC can keep this one close. My only worry is that traveling across the country out west could be difficult for a team like UNC. But this is I think UNC at bare minimum covers the 14 points. I just think that's too many points to be giving up in a bowl game. So I think this one remains close. They're not going to put these two teams in a bowl game just for UNC to get blown out. I don't think it happens.
I got you. Yeah, Jesus. This total seems so high. I know these teams can score points. I saw their stats. Oregon averages almost 37 points a game. UNC averages 33, over 33. UNC gives up 31. Oregon gives up 28. I'll be on something by the time this is next week. We're talking about a week from now. I'll be on something.
I grabbed 14 and a half. That's what the line was on Bet Online.
I'm leaning UNC, and I'm leaning the over. Because
the over might, it's 74 and a half now on Bet Online too.
Yeah, it's nasty. But if you're betting UNC,
top 40.
Yeah, well, if you're betting UNC to win, they got to score points against Oregon. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'll look at the team totals. I'll do all that. I have no play for this right now. Nothing stands out. It's too far away. We'll go to the last game, the Tax Act Texas Bowl. Funny because don't they tax people less in Texas? There's no state tax.
There's no income tax in Texas.
Income tax, yeah, state income tax. Anyways, Texas Tech 7-5, Old Miss 8-4. Old Miss is 3.5-point favorites. Total is 69.5. Texas Tech had I watched them. They look bad in spots. I mean, or was it? No, I'm thinking Texas A&M. Texas A&M looked bad.
Texas A&M were bad.
I get all. There's too many fucking schools in Texas.
Yes, there is.
Texas has some injury concerns. Injured linebacker. I'll let Nick go into it. But the thing here that I see and why I'm leaning Texas Tech is because, and I haven't pulled the trigger, they covered their last 3 games and they won twice as a dog, where Old Miss lost their last 3 games and only covered 4 spreads all year. So they weren't a cover team. And I think people were higher on Old Miss than they should be. First of all, I don't like Lane Kiffin. He's an SC. He's a Pete Carroll tree. He's part of the Pete Carroll tree. And his dad was cool. He's a prick. He's not a good head coach. I don't care what anyone says. People were high on Old Miss. I wasn't. They didn't cover spreads. They didn't win money like they should have. Fuck them. Actually, I'm taking it right now. Texas Tech plus 3.5. I get a hook. Let's do it. Let's do it now and watch me be able to get a better line later and be too hasty because that's what Dave does. But it's purely because of I'm big on momentum, even though there's been a couple weeks here. But now looking at this, like Texas Tech covered the last 3 games, almost won twice as a dog, and the other team can't cover as a favorite. Okay, Texas Tech for Dave. Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, Texas Tech. They will be without linebacker Tyree Wilson, who suffered a season-ending injury on November 12th. So they've been without him. Old Miss doesn't look like anything that they have written down here. So take that for what it's worth. But looking at this game, let's take a look where this line opened up.
And while you're doing that, just to let you know, I index this as a pick'em, and if there's only one injury, then I'm getting 3.5 points of line value with the dog.
Yeah,
anyway.
I can definitely see the dog with some value in this game. But let's take a look at where this line opened up. This line opened up at -4, and it's gone down to a -3.5. So the line has moved with Texas Tech. Even though money is coming the money's about split, and the line moved down to a 3.5. So it looks like the the markets agree with that as well. That Texas Tech is the look here, getting the points. So that's going to be my lead for right now. Not anything I'm betting at the moment. I want to see where this goes, though.
Tim, you're on Ole Miss, right?
No, I will say I kind of capped this game wrong to start off with because I was looking at a win for Mike Leach, but he's Mississippi State, not Ole Miss. I messed up that one in my head because I knew he was out of Mississippi when I forgot which one, and I kind of capped it wrong to begin with. But no, Ole Miss was doing so well in the beginning of the year. They got ranked pretty high. And then they fell on their face the last 3 weeks of the year, falling to Alabama, Arkansas, and Mississippi State.
By the way, if you want to take the win for Mike Leach, he was a coach here for 10 years at Texas Tech.
That's a good point as well.
Because I remember seeing a picture of him and Lincoln Riley.
Is none of the players that are playing on Texas Tech was under him. So
yeah,
so it really doesn't matter. But I don't know. I kind of capped this one wrong, but. If you guys are looking Texas Tech, then I'll probably end up leaning that way, but nothing that I'm going to be going after.
Yeah, it's so far. I mean, I'd prefer. I don't want to do a show every 3 or 4 days, but you can't look. I mean, you gotta. There's still some time.
There's only so far you can look ahead.
Yeah. Well, the next show's next Wednesday, but either way.
Correct.
All right, that's the last game. An hour and a half, hour and 36 minutes. I like that. It's a lot better than those marathon shows that we had before, but this is a different show. I don't know. I like this set of bowl games. We're finally getting into some watchable games. Not that the other ones were watchable, but we don't. I could watch that Oregon UNC game and not put money on it.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't mean that I won't, but either way.
And some of these games have live betting scenarios all around them, just based on how they look in the beginning of the game or something.
That's every game for me.
Well, yeah, but bowl games more than other games.
Of course. Yeah. All right, let's get on up out of here. Guys, plug whatever you want. It's on your channel. By the way, if you're watching this, we had some viewers before, but they kind of petered off. If you're watching this on my channel, go to Nick and Tim's channel. Subscribe there. Go to their Twitter. Do the same if you're on ESB. And you guys can watch the playback on this one because there aren't timestamps, but there are little labels at the bottom. So
yay.
You're welcome, everybody. But anyways, plug whatever you want.
Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to Picks from Dave for all your guaranteed losers. Make sure you guys follow Dave as well. We kind of all try to help each other grow, so that's the important thing. I know a lot of people watch us, so go check out Dave as well. He's pretty sharp.
Yeah, he's okay.
Yeah, there's differing opinions. Anyways, thanks guys for watching. You're gonna have Christmas in between now and then, so Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. That's still going on, I think. Mm-hmm. And enjoy the holidays. We'll see you next Wednesday. Best of luck at the window. Adios.